so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life? Well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online, and you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, welcome to the show. So happy to be back with you guys. As always, I have Christopher David Jackson, the man, the myth, the legend, here with me. Hello, Christopher. How are you, my friend?
Good morning. Amazing. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks for showing up yet again to share and ponder the greater mysteries with me. It's always a joy. I always come away feeling uplifted and expanded. My brain is tickled. My heart is full. So,
awesome.
All right. So, as I like to do, guys, whenever I'm having someone on, well, real quick, I'll do a couple quick orders of business. One is I just want to throw out that the show is now on Spotify. I've been mentioning that. It just hasn't been too long now, and I wanted to encourage you guys to go, and I just want to do a little experiment to see how their ranking system works. I can find the show when I browse, podcasts. It's kind of down on the list compared to iTunes. So I want to see if we all if you guys were to listen on Spotify, definitely subscribe, even if you're listening elsewhere. And if you do an experiment with me where you just listen, I want to see if it helps us to sort of rank up in visibility, so that we can find some new P-heads that are browsing around on Spotify and, give us a little more visibility. So I would appreciate that. But also, while I'm thinking of it, if you guys ever want to write in questions, write Brandon@positivehead.com. If you're not on the Facebook group, Positive Heads with an S, we'd love to see your bright, shiny, happy faces there, connecting and opening up with personal questions if you feel like getting personal and not having the rest of Facebook world, see what you're doing or feeling, or we made it private for that reason, so you guys can have that ability to get vulnerable if you so desire, and have the support from other listeners and things like that. So love to see you there. But with that being said, a little bit of business out of the way to dive into today's episode. One other thing, Chris, you are, have you done the Purium cleanse yet?
Yeah. Okay,
cool. So, excellent. So, as you know, I think I mentioned to you, we've, our mutual friend, Ema, is talking to me about Purium for a long time. And so I just had Dave Sandoval on yesterday, and we're going to be doing a cleanse together. He was awesome, like so amazing. And so June 4th, we're going to be doing a collective cleanse. So the way he put it, he goes, well, you can call it a cleanse. He calls it a metabolic reset. He says your whole metabolism is going to be reset. And, such a knowledgeable guy. I really want to like spend more time because, he just dove in over 30 years into all the science of this stuff. And his intention is so amazing and pure. And so super excited to sort of align with his vision and also starting June 4th, do a cleanse with any of you P heads that want to join in. I would love to, go down that path with you. And of course, we can share whatever we're experiencing. If I bit my son's head off because I was too hungry or something one day in the Facebook group, but I'm going to do that June 4th. And any of you guys that are interested in learning more about that, we're going to do a couple webinars talking about it on the 25th of May and the 29th of May. So this upcoming Friday and then Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And you can register to join in on those calls or webinars at positivehead.com/Purium. Purium. So yeah, looking forward to doing that. I've never done any kind of cleanse at all. And Dave is assuring me that like my little bit of pooch of a belly will be completely gone. Supposedly, talking to, Ema and Tala and other people who've been, with Purium for a long time, they're like, dude, the number of stories, incredible stories of how it's helping to heal people, physically. So I'm just anxious to see, what my friends and the listeners and, myself experiences. So that's going to be a first for me, man. So if you're up for it, maybe you could even join in. Cause, I guess you can never have too much,
it sounds great.
Seems like
I need to reorder another cleanse thing from them. It's funny. One of the big things that got me onto it initially was that, one of my friends told me that he was able to get his father was having like all kinds of autoimmune issues. And, was
my brother-in-law is too. And I want to have him try it because he's having a lot of weird autoimmune stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And he said that he was on all kinds of pharmaceutical medications and, basically he got his father on all of these superfoods and his dad is no longer on any pharmaceuticals and has more vitality than he's had in years.
Wow.
And is just doing amazing. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, wow. I really want to get my dad, on something like that. And then I could use something like that, because
totally
the way that they grow all of their stuff, it's one farm, I guess, in Utah that, they use everything they're very particular.
Is it
about
one? I didn't know it was just one.
I think it's one farm in Utah, from what I understand, anyway.
Wow! And I'll double check on that.
And everything is highly controlled, meaning they use purified water. They use only soils that don't have heavy metals and everything. So it's like everything is highly controlled, because that's another big thing right now in organics is that a lot of the organic products out there have really high heavy metal content. Yep. And that's been a concern lately. So, the fact that they're giving all of this care and attention to creating something that is super healthy, for humans and for the planet, and creating an ethical, sustainable marketing, something. Yeah, it was exciting.
Totally. He even, was talking about his own personal paycheck that he, it's pretty minimal what he pays himself out of the company. So it's like, he's the real deal. Like his real intention is to heal the planet and end suffering, right? As their, mission statement is. So yeah, I'm real excited to go down this path and share the experience with all of you guys out there. So yeah, check it out, positivehead.com/Purium if you're interested in learning more about all that. But let's jump into today's topic. It is Chris at Chris's suggestion, talking a little bit about presence. And I think this is something that we can all use more of. I know for me, this is one of, if I'm being vulnerable and transparent, which I typically do, it's one of the things that I probably struggle with the most. I have so much energy, and as I was telling you, Chris, before we started recording, I wake up mornings a lot of times, and it's like there's so much on my plate and to do, and I'm sort of that kind of doer mentality person anyway, you know, lots of high energy. It's like I'm out of bed and running to, you know, it's like my feet are gone and I'm ready to start working, and what emails do I need to get to and record the podcast and make you know, some bulletproof coffee and whatever else, you know. It's just like go. And you know, and I really am not as diligent with meditation or you know, any of which I know how valuable and important it is, right? But it's it's such a challenge for me to slow myself down and be in the moment and be present and not be thinking about where I'm going to go next, what I'm going to say next, what I'm going to do next. And it's really learning how to like control the fire, right? It's like use this. It can be used for a lot of good, but it can also be destructive to you can burn yourself if you're not, and burn yourself out, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, this comes back to our distinction between force versus power, right?
Right.
Like that when we're using force, it requires a lot of effort. We end up feeling exhausted. And you know, by getting centered and taking that time to really like be present, we actually have so much more power available to us. Like, you know, the big breakthrough that happened for me recently in this was actually in the bedroom with this amazing woman. Who,
That's always a good place for a breakthrough.
Yeah. Where, you know, I'm always so kind of like such a big giver and always kind of like result oriented, like wanting to, you know, please, right? That I'm exerting all of this force, you know, in that area. And while I think it, you know, it's typically appreciated, it also, you know, I've noticed that, well, here's the big thing that I got from this experience was there was so much more energy and power in being present, you know, and she actually, you know, really brought me into that space with grace and ease, just like stopping me for a moment, putting her hand on my heart and on her heart and saying, just get present to this right now. Like this connection, you know, and feel it. And then there was like this bubbling up that I experienced. Like this energy started to like fill into my body. And then there was this awesome thing where like, just as she was touching me, I was present to that. And that sent like shudders of electricity through my body. I was like, wow, there's all this energy there that started bubbling up out of nowhere. And then that moved us into this thing where, you know, usually these kind of sensual experiences, you know, maybe like an hour, you know, this went on for hours and hours. And it was so enjoyable. It was like one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had. And yeah, it really brought me into like, wow, this is a whole other dynamic to this whole being the power of oneness, you know, and being present. Like how much is actually there for us? Like as the heart, like when we talk about getting heart centered, you have everything that you need.
Yeah.
In this moment.
Yeah.
Your body is perfectly provided for, right?
And if you're chasing anything, then you are telling a different story, right? You're sending a different signal. You know, I've got to get somewhere to get something to have peace and fulfillment and happiness and enjoyment or whatever it is, the underlying thing that you're seeking. Whereas if you get really present in the moment and tap into your heart, it's like, oh, it's all already here, right here and now. There's nowhere I have to go. Now I can go somewhere just for the joy of going, but not out of not coming from a sense of lack and needing to find it. It's like you found that the present in the present is a present, right? It's your gift and it's all there waiting for you. And then you're operating from a sense of fullness, not because you're chasing anything. And that's, I think, what happens a lot of times in the bedroom. It's like, especially as guys, we're programmed to chase these results, right? And if
I want to excite them, I want to please them, I want to please myself. You know, instead of like seeing that, wow, if we just get present, like all of that happens, and it's actually even much more enjoyable.
Yeah. There's not that anxiety of, I've got a job to do, performance, whatever. All that goes away.
Yeah, it was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had, actually. And I mean, to think that after all these years, I can still have an experience like that, supersedes anything that's ever happened before, is pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's funny that you're experiencing that, because that's definitely been something that has been changing for me as well, where I'm really like slowing down and like, okay, I'm going into this with no expectation or end result necessary, just trying to be, I've become more present in that scenario in the last year than I ever have in my life as well. And I feel like there's so much more to still unlock and continue to find there. And so it's a great space to learn this lesson that really is important across all areas of our life. I think one of the most important changes I could make is, instead of jumping out of bed and hitting the ground running, actually staying for 10 minutes and, being with myself and doing a little meditation and just getting my, some breathing exercises to get because that's the thing. Breath is such a powerful way to get into that, to change your state, right? Yeah. And then you set the tone for your whole day. Yeah. You set your tone for the whole day before your feet hit the ground. That's tomorrow. I'm doing it. Any of you guys listening, I challenge you. Let's, same thing. Let's learn and do some of these things together. Like spend 10 minutes before you jump out of bed. If you need to set your alarm 10 minutes earlier, and just, be with yourself and practice some deep breathing, maybe meditate, and then step out and see the difference, that the tone that it sets for your day. I already know the answer. Like, you know what I mean? You don't even have to do it. We all know intrinsically. This is it's like Osho, I believe it was, that talked about if you, meditate 20 minutes a day, unless you're way too busy and you don't have enough time, meditate for an hour, right? It's like that whole premise. It's so good. So true.
Well, do we want to give maybe a quick little model of what that morning meditation could look like?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay. Awesome. So, maybe how did you like the one we just did before the show?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, I like to call this getting centered, and it's really like, allowing ourselves with our eyes closed to kind of focus on our breath, taking full breath into our belly. And, as that's happening, also like focus on our heart, right? And where our heart is in our body, like the center of our chest. And that's really that heart is the first organ in our body, and it's the organ that gives life to everything, and it empowers everything, right? Without any resistance. It doesn't really have to do anything. It just continues to be, just be. And it's being that heart that gives and empowers everything. It just happens with grace and ease. Right? Just like the breath, the in and out breath, you have the beat of the heart, which is in perfect alignment with that. And then in this moment, you can actually see that you don't have to do anything, that you are perfectly successful in this moment at being alive. You have everything that you need in this moment. And in getting present to that, and start to see how can we operate as that, like as the seat of our consciousness, of our soul, being in our heart center. Where can we be that in our lives? If there's something missing, if there's anything that we're noticing that's lacking for us, like it's really just our perception, right? That we have everything that we need in this moment. Now we can come from fullness, and then we can start to see, oh, if there's, rather than anything being lacking in our lives, there's actually all of these opportunities. Rather than perceiving anything as a problem, it's like if there's a missing of anything, we can perceive that as an opportunity for more fullness. To enroll others, to get in communication. Like if we start thinking we have everything that we need in this moment, like we start then looking at all of our resources, and maybe we see things that we haven't seen before. Yeah. And we start empowering others to empower us. So if there's like, oh, wow, I could really use more organization. Well, now, more than ever, we have things like social media where we can immediately put out a post saying, gosh, I'm really seeking to get more organized and could really use any, support or resources for this. You'll have a bunch of people responding.
Right.
Or you get in touch with the people that are closest to you and share that with them and see what they have to offer.
It comes up for me when you say that. It makes me think of, I've heard it said, and I can't remember where I've heard this or picked it up along the way. It may even have been with my my interview a couple years ago with Eben Alexander, Dr. Eben Alexander, who had the Harvard neurosurgeon who had the near-death experience, and he was in a coma for a week and on the other side. And he talked about, the way it works is soul family. We're soul family that goes out, has our experiences, come back together on the other side. And then what I've learned and what I went through and the gifts that I picked up and lessons that I picked up, I bring back to the soul family, and then everyone gets to benefit and utilize and learn through me, in a sense, right? Or and vice versa, right? Yeah. We share what we've done along the way. And, as you think about this, what's happening, this idea of ascension, and we're coming into this, the new earth, if you will, as we, ascend vibrationally, in this reality is a mirror of the other side, or the veil's thinning, that whole idea. Doesn't it make total sense? Like now we have this, nervous system of the planet wired up where communication happens in the blink of an eye. And I can say, hey, I need this resource. Who's learned it? Who's got it in their pocket? Who's already been down this road? Bam, it comes back to you. It's the same thing, right? And so that's instantly what comes up for me when you're talking about that. And then another thing that comes up, when you talk, the whole idea of just know, if you can know, Lao Tzu said, by letting go, it all gets done. And I love that. It's like, let go of like, it's all going to get done. You have eternity. Relax. There's no all these imaginary time constraints and constructs. And, really a lot of times, what we're trying to do, Chris, you and I were talking about this, is you feel like you're not enough. So you're trying to show that you're enough. Like I can be and do more because I'm not enough. So let me take on more than I can really obligate myself to more than I can juggle, and then I leave someone feeling disappointed because I couldn't answer all my emails or get the project done in time. But really, it's operating from a sense of not feeling like you're enough, right?
Well, it's self-fulfilling.
Which isn't true.
Yeah, it's basically, we've talked about this before where it's like, you are the present moment. You literally are the gift that presents your gifts to the rest of the world, like your version of reality. And as you literally are the cross section between the past and the future.
Yeah.
Like, so whether your mind is holding a future possibility of a planet of paradise for us all, or is trapped in the prison of your past perceptions of lack, that will be the lens through which you see and perceive all of reality, and through which the light and life that you are will project through onto the screen for all of us to experience and reflect back to you. Right. So this is where, like, we're constantly, when we're looking out there, and we talked about this morning, there's this thing in Landmark that's really amazing where they talk about like these 3 concentric circles, that your being is in the center, and then you have doing is the next circle, and then having is the outermost circle. Right. And most of our lives we spend focused on the outside in. We think that when we have the things that we want, then we'll do the things that will have us being happy. Right. But in fact, life doesn't work that way. It's not an outside in phenomenon. It's an emanation of our being. Therefore, by being happy, we will do the things that happiness does, and then we will have all of the things and more
that are a reflection of happiness.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I've heard this.
Approach.
Yeah, I love this. I first was exposed to that in the Conversations with God books many years ago, but I like adding that visual element to it. Of the concentric circles. That's a new piece for me. And I really like that because it really gives you the idea of, getting, the being is the heart center, right? What are you being in your heart is always, if you're confused and overwhelmed or any of those things, all the stuff's happening in your life out there. Okay, let's bring it back to that center circle. What am I being that is creating that?
Yeah. And if you're being want and you're being lack, then that's what gets reflected back to us.
Right.
And then it's like we're constantly chasing like a rat, in a wheel and not getting anywhere, and it's like we keep robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's like, okay, we'll find that, wow, well, we seem to get somewhere using force. Well, then all of these other things fell to the wayside.
Right.
So it's like in using force to accomplish fullness, we end up creating lack somewhere else.
Right.
And then it's this constant going back and forth and juggling, as you said, where it's like, wow, I'm feeling overwhelmed. And I keep taking on more and I'm not getting that sense of fulfillment.
Right.
Where you just start and being centered and being fulfilled. Like you are fulfilled in this moment. You literally you are perfectly alive in this moment.
Right.
And so everything from there
makes me think of, Esther Hicks, Abraham, she talks about, she says, you can't get it wrong because you never get it done. You never get it done. Every moment you're attracting to yourself and it's manifesting. That's just a launching place. That's the jumping off place for much, much, much more. That is how we experience. That is the game that you're playing. So if you can understand that and bring that to all of your undertakings, it's like, I'm never going to get it wrong and I'm never going to get it done. No matter how much I do, there's infinity sprawled out before me, right? It sort of makes it like, oh, okay, I can relax about this whole thing because I never get it all done and I never run out of time to do more. So why am I killing myself here,
Yeah.
This has been epic, man. This has been epic. Is there anything that you'd like to leave the listeners with as we wind down here today?
Gosh, I mean, I feel like we could probably do multiple episodes on this one thing alone.
I agree.
Process of presence and how to enact it. That like it's such a constantly expanding realm for me. Even it's like just when I thought I really understood it and got it. There were all like this romantic sensual experience happened, and I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
There's just more layers to getting this,
Right.
And really it happens in the stillness, which we hear so many amazing teachers and people share constantly, like just shutting down the mind, like getting present to your breath first, and then really getting present to the sensations in your body, and starting, it's amazing in my coaching practice. Like one of the things that I notice most, and even more so with men than with women, is this lack of connection to our physical intelligence.
Yeah.
Our bodies actually have so much information that, we're not, it actually took me time to get present to. It's like I'll ask somebody what they're feeling, or you had mentioned something earlier this morning about feeling overwhelmed, and I was like, oh, well, how do you physically feel that in your body? And you're like, well, I don't know if I feel it. It takes some time to actually develop that connection again, especially for us men, because we're so disconnected from our bodies and our emotions. I think back to sports in school, playing football where, you get hurt and the coach would be like, well, play through it. And all the guys would be like, play through it too. Like, don't be a wuss.
Yeah.
And then I look back at so many of my friends who did that, now who have like massive body issues.
Right.
And guys also historically don't go to the doctor, the same way. They're not as in tune with their bodies. Women have to go. They have those like monthly cycles. They're much more in tune with their bodies and their physicality. So I think getting in touch with that and seeing, I think you'll start to find that there's all sorts of amazing messages that our bodies have for us.
Yeah.
When you tune into what the physical sensations are around things, if I'm saying I'm feeling overwhelmed, like, oh, when I tune into feeling overwhelmed, how do I experience that physically in my body?
Right.
For me, I'll notice it like a tightness in my solar plexus or in my stomach, right? In the upper part of my stomach. Some people might feel like a pressure head or a tightness in their neck or in their shoulders, and then as you tune into that physical sensation, it starts to unfold, and it has so much there. Like you can actually get in a conversation with your body. And see what's there. Like this physical intelligence is strong. So, I mean, I think that maybe that's the last thing I would leave the whole physical presence with today.
Yeah, I think it's for a lot of us, it's much. We're so tuned in mentally. For me, it's like I see you're talking about the nuance of communication, right? And that's it comes so naturally for me with like synchronicity and spiritual concepts and mental, seeing how to connect the dots in business and seeing layers to the onion, if you will. And that whole thing exists with the body. I think you're right. And I definitely know that's probably the area that I'm weakest. That's one of the reasons I'm really excited about going down this road with the whole, the Purium, transformational cleanse and metabolic reset, because it's something for a long time. It's like, okay, I want to get really like, how do I heighten my physical vibration as much as possible to match the other parts of me that maybe are a little more advanced, right? So that mind, body, and spirit are in sync. And I think that's really what you're talking about. And so that's a powerful, powerful realization. It's all parts of the puzzle as we put ourselves back together and become, the caterpillar becomes the butterfly. We, emerge as the next greatest and grandest versions of ourselves. I did pull up a few Abraham quotes here about never getting it done that I think would be perfect to leave today's episode off with. So I'm going to read. I've got 3 of them pulled up here. And the first one says, give yourself a break. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Lighten up. Be easier. Go slower. Take it easy. Have more fun. Love yourself more. Laugh more. Appreciate more. All is well. You can't get it wrong. You never get it done. That's the first one. Love that. The next one says, all is well and you will never get it done. Life is supposed to be fun. No one is taking score of any kind. And if you will stop taking score so much, you will feel a whole lot better. And as you feel a whole lot better, more of the things that you want right now will flow to you. And the last one here is, it's exhilarating to us to announce to you that you can't get it wrong, that you've never been getting it wrong, that no matter what you do, you will not ever get it wrong and you will never get it done. And the reason it can't ever be wrong is because it is never done. And I think that really says it all in regards to being, anxious and not being present and relaxing into your joyous life that it's meant to be, lest we become like a child, right? We cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. And Chris, you are a gift in this present moment. Thank you for being the gift that you are. I do have a track to leave you guys with. This is
beautiful. I want to leave you with one thing too before we end, which is
perfect.
BAU till full and overflow on everyone around you.
I love that. Thank you, Chris. This, my friends, is the human experience. The song is Dusted Compass featuring Lila Rose. Love this track. I think I played it maybe 2-3 years ago, but I love it a lot. So I wanted to bring it back. Hope you guys enjoyed as much as I do. Until next time, journey well. Love you all so much. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.
Call the past, the pulse that brings us us closer to all of us, to the breath that keeps us beating. Oh, to the breath that keeps us beating. Oh, to the breath that keeps us beating. Somehow I'm moving closer.